Okay, everyone, so welcome back again. So this time, I've kind of showed you the Learning Assistant setup and how to set the system up and which menus are where they're at, and hopefully you familiarize yourself now with all these. So now we get into the main part of it. Okay, so this is where you would set the work. Okay, so this is now obviously the key bit. So let's imagine I'm with a learner for the first time. I've explained the unit, I've picked the optional unit, not gone through my health and safety and my quality diversity and all that kind of plans. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the learner some work. Okay, so I'm going to go to the contact ID. Okay, I'm going to click create entry. Okay, so you can change the label to a couple of different things, but let's keep it nice and easy today. Let's call it general. Okay, in the description now, I'm only going to say what I would put, but you can do different things. So let's go unit 201, health and safety, I think it was, or communication in health and social care, I think it was, wasn't it? Okay, so you would know the qualifications better than I do. So you just put obviously the title in there. In the feedback now, I would now like say explained qualification, discussed unit 201. Can you now complete knowledge questions? Okay. You put more detail within that. For the purposes of the training today, let's keep it nice. So next meeting appointment date. So this is ability for you to give them a deadline or your next visit. So let's give them 2 weeks, so 9th of November. That'll disappear. So that is because that's kind of binding them into the system. Okay. So I click save at this point. So that saves my contact ID. The system comes up with, would you like to add it? Okay. You can add an appointment. So if I click create appointment, I'm going to and I'm going to be there for an hour and a half. Okay. So I click save. That will save that appointment date. Okay, good. Now what you're going to do now is we wanted to. The more we got this, the better. Obviously, now we'll have to jump in and out because we haven't got a learner that will do the work for us at the moment. Hopefully that changes with your real learners. So I'm just going to log in as the learner. Okay. That's the terms and conditions that they'd have to sign at the very beginning. So this is their homepage, okay? So very similar. So as I said before, they can set the notifications up as well, so they get the notification. So what we've got here now is latest contact ID. You can see that the that the assessor has sent you this kind of work. So it's on your home page. If I click onto it, it takes me in there. Right, okay, so they've asked me to do 201. They've asked me to do some questions. Again, I would expect more detail, but use the requires acknowledgement box. If I click there, it acknowledges it for me. And that date, times, and stamps when the learner acknowledges. So that for me is get them into the portfolio and bind them into it. So if they then don't do the work, then obviously, you know, you can then record that you've done the work, but they haven't done it. So I've had the work, so I'm a good learner. So I'm gonna upload the work now. Okay. So how would learners upload the work? Okay. So we go to evidence folder, and then I would click evidence wizard. Okay. So evidence wizard. So I'm still logged into learner now. So evidence wizard, they now get two options. They get upload a piece of evidence or create evidence. So create evidence will create a brand new piece of evidence, upload with an existing file. So I presume that will be more than the case. So let's click upload evidence. Okay. So they've got a couple of steps now. Now, in a week's time, there's an additional step happening which will make your life a lot easier. And I'll explain that now in a minute. So if I click the browse files, that will open up my laptop. And so I'll just attach something very standard, I suppose, my questions. Okay, so that'll upload that document. I think a lot of learners might struggle when you might have to help them do that. That won't change, but hopefully a lot of learners will be able to do this. So just wait for it to upload. There we go. So that's in there now. You can attach different documents. You can attach more than one document. So especially if you're doing like discussions and attaching product evidence to go with it, that's quite useful. So I've attached my questions. If I go to the details tab now, the title of it comes through. Now, as a learner now, I can put these, my questions on communication. Not all learners will put a description in, but it does help. But like I said, not everyone will do it. If I then click on type, so this is where they can select the type of evidence. Now, obviously, it's trying to encourage them and work with them to work out what it is. If I've set the knowledge questions, then quite simply is questioning. If it's a bit of product, they can select product. Now there is one there for don't know. The more we use the more we encourage don't know, the more they're likely going to use it. So it's about educating them to use the right evidence type. Then finally, the cross-reference. So this is where a lot of assessors are like, oh, I don't want to do this. And on a manual paper portfolio, you would have the evidence record sheets, and you would have to like cross them out if a learner did this. But with a digital platform, it is a lot easier. And I'm not asking them to cross-reference. I'm asking them to suggest what they think it meets. So if I've set unit 201, we should already be halfway there. So if I click on 201 and then, okay, so is my questions met this criteria? Yeah, I think it has. So I'm going to tick these boxes. Okay. Now, in the next update, which is in the next couple of days, so I will release another video to you, there will be a next step saying, do you want to submit this to your assessor? Okay, so that's really important because that saves you then going out of here and going somewhere else, which I'll show you now. But there will be another step here that says, do you want to submit this to your assessor? Which should be here anyway, because I believe it's much easier. But at this point, I would click save. So that would save my evidence. I've only clicked save once now. I haven't saved it as we went along. I did all those 4 steps and then I'd click save. So successfully saved, so I'm fine with that. So I'll click close. So now you can see the in there. It's uploaded by the learner. I've still got the option to delete it if I want to, but it's in there, all job done, and no issues whatsoever. Okay, fairly straightforward. Could learners do that? I think so. I think there's obviously you've got 1 or 2 learners which might struggle, and you've got to work with them to do that. If you can get the majority of your learners doing that, then that's quite easy. At the moment, there is a next step for them to do, but as I said, the update's in a week's time, and that next step will be in that evidence wizard. But what they would have to do now, just to get it to you, would be click on Tool 1.1 now where I've uploaded it, and there's a button for submit it to your assessor, submit your competence claim. But as I said, that's being changed next week, and it'll be part of the wizard. So I'll do it today so we can push it to the assessor. But from next week it'll be there. So I feel that's quite straightforward. Learners could do that. You know, what have I done from the learner? I've opened up my contact diary, I've acknowledged it, and then I've uploaded my into the system. You know, once they get used to doing it, I think they could do it. So I'm just going to log out. Obviously, this step wouldn't normally happen because you would let the learners would be doing this. So I would just be setting the work and then waiting for the work to come in. So, oops. Now, because my notifications are set up, I would have had a notification that learner's uploaded evidence. So I would have had that at the end of the day, okay? But if I log in at any point, what you can see now in my awaiting review, I've got healthcare have submitted Tool 1.1 to me. Homepage, waiting to mark it. So if I went into healthcare there, obviously I could go into the main portfolio. If I click on Tool 1.1, this would take me directly into the actual unit where they've uploaded the work. So you can see now that there's my questions and there's the tick sheets, okay? So at the moment, they're in as black ticks, okay? So these suggest learner ticks, okay? So now I have to assess and just check. So I would open up the document. I'm not going to because I know what it is, but I'd open it up, have a little look at it. Now what I would do, if I click it once, it changes it to green. That means I agree with it. If I click it again, it changes it to a question mark. Maybe it needs a bit of validation or not quite met it. Or I'll just remove this. Okay. I'm gonna just change 2 to green and I'll remove 1 because I'll pretend to meet that. So that locks my ticks in. What would you do next? Everyone's saying give feedback. So I need to give feedback to the learner. So I now have I have now 2 buttons to press: accept or return. So these 2 buttons are a bit ambiguous. So they refer to the actual whole outcome. So I would only ever click accept when not, I would click return. What return will do will open up so that diary now, so it comes up with assessment. It comes up with Tool 1.1. see that in more detail. You know, the word. So now, the assessor tasks, you'll need to review one interview. Okay, so I've done that work, now it's the offline interview. So if you give feedback and gone back to them, that's your work done, and then they complete the work. One way to know. So one last thing is obviously have a little look at contact ID. Can you create engine contact ID, set them somewhere, and then obviously you need to